Welcome to Dance to Heal. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how dance and movement can bring healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that movement was vital to my recovery. I created Dance to Heal Wellness and also authored the best-selling book, Outside in Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new techniques to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. Lynette Day is an occupational therapist and a Datura style certified instructor. She recently opened Infinity Fusion Dance Studio on the island of Maui. By day, Lynette treats clients with injuries or disabilities and teaches them methods to be independent, coordinated, and strong. During the evenings, Lynette's studio offers adult classes like hip-hop, belly dance, and contemporary fan veil. So without further ado, I would love to introduce to you Lynette. We're here in her studio. Hi there.
Hi, Jenny. Thanks for coming to Maui.
It's so much pleasure to hear. All right, so Lynette and I first met each other way back when, before the panini, in our first Datura Level 1 certifications.
Initiation.
Yeah. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself to the audience, and I'm like, what you do, what is Infinity Dance Studio, Infinity Fusion Dance Studio all about?
Yes. My name is Lynnette Day Canellis, and Infinity Fusion Dance Studio is also an occupational therapy clinic. So during the day, Monday through Friday, I provide occupational therapy services to anybody that has a disability or who might have an injury. And I work mostly with children, but I also do work with adults and a lot of autistic children. So it's a neurodiverse affirming practice, and so that's what we're doing here in the daytime. And in the evenings, we are having all kinds of adult dance classes at this point. We might provide some for kids in the future, but at this point, I'm really gearing towards classes for adults to take and different genres of dance, hence the fusion part.
Fusion. So they're available online. It doesn't matter where you are. You can still take classes here.
Yeah, so everything we teach here is hybrid, so you can actually join us online, and I'm very aware that we're of our early in our time frame here in Hawaii. So you can also, most people are going to be sleeping maybe when we're doing our evening classes, so you can always purchase the class, and it could be recorded, and you can practice and take that class in your convenient time. So
the beauty of the studio, because I was at the grand opening and I took all classes, they have the camera behind, so you can follow the teacher and not have to learn how to mirror, and the teacher doesn't have to learn to mirror for you. So you're in class online like you're behind the teacher, seeing the mirror. So you have that option. So tell us about the world of dance. Like, when did you first find dance? Before we did initiation, what was the world of dance in your life?
Let's see. When I did jazz and ballet all growing up, and then, kind of faded out of that, got into horseback riding as my movement in my teenage years. And then when I moved to Oregon, when I was 18, I was
last year.
Let's see, that was 1998. Okay.
Well, just a couple of years ago.
I was actually learning how to blow glass. I was at a fair selling glass that I was making, and it was the first time I'd ever seen a belly dance troupe, and I was intrigued by the way the women were moving together, and my heart was I was just feeling it really deep in my soul, like watching them. And when I got home from that fair in Oregon, I called the local belly dance instructor, and I started taking classes when I was 18 in Talent, Oregon. Yes.
Oh,
Aisha's Oasis. That was my first. Aisha from Talon, Oregon. She's still teaching and dancing, from my understanding. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the beauty of it. You first found belly dance when you were 18. And is it, what, like 5 years of training now? How many years have you been doing belly dancing now? 15? 20?
Let's see.
10. She's 10 years. So she's under 30. Roughly.
27?
Yeah. And my point is, right, how has belly dance been a role in your life? How has it changed you? How has its perception changed in your life? Because in the beginning it was one thing, and now it's something else, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I always felt a very soul-lifting sensation from learning how to move my body in ways that I never even would. I just, there wouldn't be any reason to move it in that way unless you were belly dancing. So it was just like these unique ways of moving my body and learning how to coordinate it. And it has always given me so much satisfaction to gain more coordination and also to start to see the beauty in what your body can do. So I feel like it is a very, to me, it's very important in uplifting, and it helps with body image and just self-love, honestly. And it's my exercise. So it makes me feel like generated all the time, regenerated.
I love that. I mean, because we're both teachers, self-teachers, so we've gone through the gamut of the training week-longs and the homework and the certification aspect of it. And I guess for me, do you have something to share with us about what happens internally when you're preparing for a performance?
What happens internally when preparing for a performance?
And I'm talking about solos, because troops are different, right?
Yeah. It's been so interesting because I performed so much when I lived in Seattle, and now I've been on Maui for 10 years, and I have performed a lot, but since COVID, it's really it's been minimal, and I haven't prepared to do a lot of solos, honestly, in the past 3 years. I could say the last one I did was probably in February, so not that long ago. What I did to prepare for that, I practice. I actually just did a datura style piece.
Yeah.
And I used some finger symbols, and I just get into this meditative mode. I don't know, something really like calming comes over me, and I didn't used to be like this. Like the whole evolution of like how I get ready for performances has changed throughout the years. But now I just feel some kind of sense of calmness that comes over me, like when I'm getting ready in the dressing room right before I go onto the stage, and I just feel like it's, even though I haven't done it so much since COVID, it feels way more natural to just do it, and it's not as nerve-wracking. Yeah. It depends on the venue and all that, but I haven't done it a lot in the past few years since COVID.
Yes, I love that. I love that aspect of, because you've done it so much in your lifetime, that in preparation for the performance, you actually go into a meditative state.
Yeah.
People don't understand that, right? Because people are always like, I don't want to dance, I don't want to perform. I'm like, that's not the point of it. I think it's this lifetime of study and a whole nother way of being in your body that is a way of life that people don't realize what it really is for a lot of performers.
Yeah, for real. And honestly, the performance thing, I love doing more group stuff than solo stuff. I love what I learned in Datura, in the 8 Elements trainings, and I love implementing those tools and teaching, creating like vocabularies and teaching it, and just working with groups. It's so much more satisfying, and I get so much more out of it. And I tend to put a lot more work and time and effort and love into that rather than my solos.
Yeah, well, and here's the key, right? For me, this is like the epitome of what I talk about in the past. I just spoke with Jelena, and we talked about community. There's an energetic exchange when it's more than just you. Because
Yeah.
you know, when you're doing a solo, it's only when you're in front of an audience. I mean, during Panini, we were doing a lot of recordings, so you didn't even get that feedback. And live performances is exchange for me, anyways, between me and the audience, right? You kind of alchemize what happens. With a group, you're alchemizing in rehearsals and during performance with yourselves and then with the audience.
Yes, yes.
Right?
It's a lot. It's a big, huge energy exchange, and I love the community aspect of it. I love the bonding that actually happens through this art form with people that are doing it together. It's a very, I can't really describe it with words, and I like that aspect of it. I think I do love to create unique things, and I could use like by myself, but I kind of just don't want to do it by myself. That's why I try to create the things and then teach them and then do it in a bigger group. It's just more, yeah, it just gives me more, I just love working with people.
I know. Because, you know, I used to be an OT right before children, BC. So I have a question for you regarding that. There's been, for me, in my journey, a preference now for teachers who are more trauma aware as they are teaching classes. Would you have any advice for someone who's new to dance? Because from that book, The Body Keeps Score, a lot of us will release trauma during movements. Mm-hmm. Would you have any suggestions of how they can move safely and or find a teacher that would be safer for them to start movement? You know what I'm talking about? Because, you know, some of us have dance trauma, and then we go into adult class, and that can rear its ugly head, and we go into an uninformed teacher. Because, like, as OTs, we know all about watching a client and gearing classes towards what our clients want, or, you know, we call them patients back in my day, but now clients, right? How does someone watching this interview and they're curious about dance class, besides signing up for Lynette's online studio, what are some other ways that they can find locally to themselves? You know, like kind of a little mini checklist maybe? I'm putting you on the spot. A little mini checklist of how, like, is this teacher going to be safe for me to come into class with?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, I could start with the things that I do in my class, because I'd have to think about that as a student going into a class and how I would feel. What would I look in another teacher to make sure I felt safe? And I could start with what I do, and then, because I actually thrive on, I'm super passionate, and I thrive on creating a safe space for people. I want people to come to my class that have never, ever danced in their life, and they might want to learn how to move, and they don't have to be coordinated, and they don't have to know musicality, and they don't have to know how to count on the beat, because they can learn those things. They can learn all those things at their own time, whenever it works for them, when they're ready in the process of learning how to dance in my classes. So saying that, I always tell my students when they come in and as a group is that I want them to all just be kind to themselves and know why they're here, and try not to compare themselves to other people. Perfect. Because that can easily happen in a group dynamic where, you know, you're kind of seeing someone might be getting something a little faster than you, and it makes you feel like have this negative self-talk. And I talk about that. Rachel had some, it was...
Yes. Our teacher started that, the whole growth mindset.
There was like the negative self-talk, the whisper.
It was,
what was the name of it? I thought it was like a puppet from Sesame Street or something. It'll come to me.
I heard like Gollum. In my head, no Gollum voices. I mean, like, I learned from her the Care Bear stare.
The Care Bear stare.
We would take turns being Care Bears. Like, you know how the Care Bears, the big eyeballs, I talk about it in the book, right? And like, we have to learn to give the Care Bear stare to whoever's performing, and then receive it ourselves. And seeing it in the mirror, I wear a t-shirt that says kind eyes backwards. So that when you're in the mirror, you can remind yourself to give your kind eyes, and I like that reminder in your class.
Yeah. Well, I just try, and I know that people might have that comparison, and that, you know, like I might not be getting it and start to feel bad about themselves. And so I just try to explain to everyone, like, please just try to meet yourself where you're at and try to get better than where yourself, and just try to enjoy what you're doing in the moment and not allow how other people are dancing to affect how you feel about yourself.
Yes.
And so because I really want everyone to feel good about themselves and their bodies and their minds and feel like they're getting something positive out of it. So because those dynamics can happen in a class.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's intimidating going into a new genre of dance, a new teacher, a new class. So, just making sure to explain those things to my students is like super, super important, and making sure to check in with them, and also letting them know that they don't have to do everything I'm teaching to them. Right? And I'm always modifying and changing. Like if you don't want to be, moving your hips while we're doing the footwork, just do the footwork, take out the hips. And then I see people doing it and I give them praise because I notice they're doing it. And I feel like, hey, I see that you took the hips out and you're doing the footwork because you're meeting yourself where you're at. That's awesome. Like I'm so proud of you for doing that, because you're going to learn quicker that way. You're going to learn it more efficiently, and so that is really important to me. So as a teacher, so if I were to try to find a teacher, I would try to find somebody that can do the same thing, but I don't know. I don't know.
I love that though. So here's a key, right? In my previous episodes, we talk a lot about this whole somatic response with your body and being really clear. Donna Mejia, she's one of my first professors, I talked about being really clear that you have an open line of communication between our mind and our body, so that when you're getting that first feedback, not be after you twisted the ankle, not after you strained the muscle, your body is giving you little whispers, hey, I don't feel like it, or you haven't hydrated me enough, or I'm confused, can you just slow the F down? And I love the fact that you were saying, I look for someone who does what I do, which is encourages you to have a very true relationship with your body.
Yeah.
And that's the key. If we carry memories in our body and we're doing movements that are going to release it, it is really important that you listen and be clear that, oh, I don't feel safe. And then you can do steps of what your body's asking you to do to feel safe. And then the teacher's recognizing, ooh, good job, you're paying attention. And that's what we want. That's one of the best advice I've heard, Lynette. Because a lot of people, I love this reinforcement. I hope that you are watching this and then compare it to the other episodes, because we do really want you to come into dance spaces like this. Again, sign up for Lynette's online class. Don't worry, I'll do the selling for everybody. And then you can compare how some teachers will prepare you. I just took a class from Sharzad in LA. She came in from Cairo. And she was talking about how, well, I'm teaching you some pretty complicated hip movements. And you still have to gear it towards your body, because I'm taller than most of the people. So this is the teacher. I'm taller than most of you, so my leg length is different. So my movement is different. And also my body is different. And that's going to stack and influence my movement. So you still have to know, how does it feel on my body and how do I tailor it? And I love that. I really love that, Lynette. So yeah, you answered it. Don't worry, no stress.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then I want to ask you a question regarding the role of dance. How does that affected you, if at all, in your life? Because you work in pretty stressful situations.
Yes. Well, I opened a dance studio that is also a therapy clinic, so I can have access to movement all the time. I did this not only for myself, but for the community, and for the community of children and people that have special needs or might have injuries. But the thing I did was I wanted to dance a lot. I do. So
yeah, it's really interconnected. It's not separate. So the role of dance is essential, because if you didn't have dance, you have nothing to serve people with.
Yeah, and so I work all day, and then I have other instructors come and teach, and I take their classes. They come to me. now they come to me. I kind of made this business in a way that is really beneficial for other people, but also for me, because I work really, really, really intensely, and I have a lot of passion for the dance, but also the therapy. And the therapy I do all day, every day, to pay the rent here. And it takes a lot out of me, and the dance fuels me. So I have, yes.
Would you say that dance also fulfills you, replenishes you?
Yes, it gives me life. It really energizes me. Like, so how it affected me was like I intertwine them. I love that I can do therapy all day, and then I can teach a class in the same space. I could teach a class in the middle of my therapy day because I do privates, and I've been teaching those, and they'll come to me, and so it mixes up my day through the therapy and the dance, and then I have different teachers come to me now because I have this space and I'm learning from other people, which I love. So it's affected me a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've really intertwined both the dance and the therapy together in my life. So.
I love that. I really love the fact that you're just, Lynette, you're like the proof of everything I talk about how important it is to feel yourself. You love movement. It almost heals you so you can heal more people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right, folks, I've run out of time. We're just going to have Lynette come back. We'll do a remote thing unless I make up an excuse and come back to visit her studio.
Oh, yeah, come back.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do like an intensive here together.
Yeah, I would love that.
NLP, some different areas.
Yeah.
If you like this idea, comment below on this video, and if you're listening to the audio, make sure you come and contact me and let me know how interested you'd like to join us in Maui, okay? In the meantime, the assistants are gonna put a little link down below here for our video people on how you can get in touch with Lynette and take her online classes, and also the describers in this episode for the podcast will also send you links. Okay, until next time, thanks so much for joining us.
Hello.
Thanks for listening to Dance to Heal with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of recovery through movement and learn more ways that you can move your body. To work with me and continue your journey, visit OutsideInRecovery.com. Are you ready to move?